Now, okay. Welcome again to another lesson in Radio 1, Boston Media House. My name is Chris, and we're going to move into lesson 18, how to be able to work through the concept of storytelling, which I explained to you in the previous lesson, was literally, it's like the cornerstone or the benchmark or the foundation or whatever it is that we can define in radio itself. So this is a big lesson. I say big in terms of literally it's going to pave the way for everything that you do from now on. And we're going to start off small and slow. So I'm not really interested in telling you what's coming up next. Storytelling is spelled wrong. I shall go back and uh, fix that. But let's get into storytelling. Okay. All right. So we've been telling stories for just like literally since the. I mean, I wasn't there, and there wasn't any reports, but we can absolutely say with like massive confidence that even in the caveman days, you to communicate to communicate is to tell a story. So their version of communication was, do this, bash this, eat this, let's make a baby this, and you understand, like it was there was still stories to be told. And as they, became a little bit more evolved, we had, our prehistoric versions of human beings coming home to regale, like their hunting and their experiences. But for me, like the biggest thing is because it's also my heritage, and it is true as well. So the Greeks invented the concept of entertainment officially. So it was always there. It was always there, but never defined in as a way that someone could actually choose to, enjoy recreational activities just for the sake of being entertained. And entertainment is defined as any concept that can distract you. So the better the entertainment, the better the distraction, and we know that because, like, even I was watching the anime version of Pacific Rim yesterday. I thought to myself, you know what? It's public holiday. I am, as not, like not productive or unproductive. Binge watching is. I don't really care. I'm going to do this. The thing is that point is that I went through a good couple of hours sitting right here on my couch and just going next, 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 next. We've all done it before as well. But you know what? I wouldn't go to the next episode if the episode before that, like let's say episode one, was not entertaining. I would not go and punish myself in any kind of way. So, the thing is that if it tells a good story and it captures my like imagination, my interest, my whatever it may be, right? Just it captures me, then it is good entertainment for me. And we all have different tastes of entertainment. Um, I was going to go back just a quick snap to how the Greeks actually formalized it is that, when they went on their crusades, so we all know about Prometheus and all these, and the Odyssey and all these great things that happened in Greek, not mythology, in actual, just their Greek history. But the thing is that they would have, like soldiers, you understand what I'm saying too? So, the big, strong men or whatever it may have been. Um, and good fighters, whatever it is, they're agile, whatever it may be, right? But there was always one other guy, right, that was had the gift of gab, right? Who could literally, it's like his strength was in words, okay. And this man also had to be of some kind of valor. I'm saying in terms of being able to be physically contributive to these quests. But anyway, the point is that when they came home, this man would stand up, right? And obviously, it was not a time for women to be involved in anything like then. But he would stand up and he would regale. So he would tell that every detail that was necessary that was entertaining, so we can have detail, but it can be boring, right? But he had this wonderful gift of being able to just capture everyone, and they would stand around and they would listen to him, and every single great part of that odyssey or that quest or whatever it may be would be told and communicated to the townsfolk or whatever it may be, right? So that is so the Greeks then decided that this is a great way to along with the sciences and along with everything that and the mathematics and whatever it is philosophies that they were developing, recreational activities around drama and arts and again storytelling, it became a thing. So you would now go to an amphitheater and you would sit like we do in a movie, and there would be a lot of these actors. So now we'd have different professions, actors, actresses, whatever it may have been. I don't think again women were allowed to do anything back then. So for quite a good hundred of years, men would play women. But regardless, okay, I'm going too far. That it became an actual concrete job, you know. And so we have been telling stories as a job. So here we go, making a career out of it, um, in many different ways, right? That we have been making this a career since the like the Stone Age. Well, basically. All right. So the top five rules of being a great storyteller is you've got to be relevant. So relevance has to do with either it has to be relevant to the person that you are telling the story to. So in other words, you could tell me this great story about something that's really, really massive, and it's I say massive impact as a large whatever it is, but it could have to do with someone in Slovakia, okay, which doesn't it has no relevance to me unless there is some tie in around or how it affects my lifestyle and my living, or if there's any danger or whatever it may be, like it would not be relevant to me. So relevance is within context how you're supposed to be telling your stories. All right, provide structure to your story. Please don't ever say once upon a time, but it is once upon a time. We start off somewhere, and we start, and like I said in the previous lesson, we had a middle, we had an ending, and then we had a beginning that we want to work. So we work towards the end. You understand? Because the end will define how it is that we are going to begin our once upon a time. You understand? So find your passion. Why must you tell this story? And I think it's very important that in your first year you understand, and through every single year, that your passion must lie in what your listener wants. That is what should make you passionate. So I have passion for servicing my community through exposing some kind of money laundering or some type of corruption or some type of, or let's say one of the churches is involved in something like scandalous or whatever it may be. You understand what I'm saying to you? It doesn't have to interest me. It interests me because it's my job to have them interested. And that is what your passion is about. Know when to edit. So have the guts to cut. Right. Just don't carry on and on and on. And you understand? That's what happens. Be yourself. Okay, so let's go through a couple of these points in terms of. So I have kind of discussed it as well, but let's do a little bit of the theory. So relevance plays a big part in whether, spelt incorrectly, these are not my slides, your story lands at all. Relevance can mean relevant to what is happening in the world or what is relevant to the listener. Does it interest them? Does it affect them? Will they make decisions based on what you have said? Will they need to be, like I say, educated with this knowledge that can empower them throughout the day? Is it just because they need to be, like telling them about a story about Metallica really has to apply to, let's say, for example, a very, very niche audience, of hard rock, much, much older people in their late 40s, 50s, You're not going to go put that on a youth station. No one cares. No one even knows who Metallica is. And so that's really important. Okay. Provide structure. So again, it's these things that I've spoken to you about already. And that's probably why it's going to be quite a short lesson. Is that it has to have the beginning, the middle, and the end. You cannot introduce the story unless you know where you are going. So let's say I would like to, and I think let me just actually so I can have some reference. So just bear with me just for a second. I'm going to go to my, so a great app for you to use in building some content easy, you know what I'm saying? It's called South African Newspapers. You can find on Android or Apple, whatever it is. Okay, so let's go to the Sowetan Live. Okay, so I'm going to Sowetan Live. I'm going to show you now basically how I would like to work. The ending is so important. Okay, so we have some choices here. I'm going to go a little bit more further for uh, good life. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so for example, there's this thing, and whether we decide it's important or not, Gucci Facebook file a joint lawsuit against alleged counterfeiters, you know, so people that are obviously counterfeiting, you know, they obviously some kind of product to theirs. I don't know how Facebook gets involved, but obviously I had to read the story, you know, and for example, I would, you know, just in terms of the Gucci, I mean, we live in the era of knockoffs, right? So for example, I buy a lot of knockoffs. I do. I mean, I'm not a label queen, and sometimes I am, because sometimes the price is right, and you know I'd like to actually, you know, I like that pair of Soviets. I'm going to buy that pair of Soviets. They're normally anyway cheaper than the local brand. So yeah. So anyway, the thing is that do we really, I mean, do we really care in South Africa? So you know, if something is a knockoff and it looks good and the quality is good, whatever it is, do we care as South Africans, like for their sake, because they are multi-billion billion whatever it is, dollar companies? And um, and whether the conversation should actually go to, I mean, is it ethic? Do you find like there's any ethical you know, obstacle around that, where we have to actually sit back and say, yeah, but if it was my business and my product and I was being knocked off, would do I think in that manner? Where are South Africans actually going with this? Where are they, like in terms of like a stance? So if I know that ending, I can start off by saying, you know what? So I back announce the song again. I ID the station. Welcome to the show. Don't necessarily have to say my name. I think it's a little bit arrogant to always completely remind people, oh, I'm Chris, oh, I'm Chris, oh, I'm Chris. If they're interested, they'll wait to find out who you are, if you're actually good enough. Anyway, um, but okay. So I want to go to that. And I want to begin, I'm going to just go off the cuff, and I'm going to say, so I know the middle, because the middle is the article, and I'll select certain parts of the article that are relevant to that ending, to that specific ending. So I would also need some stats around how many people or how much like knockoffs we do have here in South Africa, and I would do maybe a little bit of a snap poll on Twitter. I mean, do you care whether your stuff is knockoffs? Yes or no? Have something beforehand, just to kind of like build that into it. And you know, I would say first of all, you know, just economically right now, if we speak right now, this is my opening. Economically right now, it's very easy for us to ask the question of whether or not you are buying branded, high quality, whatever it may be, products or services, or you are, you know, you're in the market of, you know, filling your space and home and services or whatever it is that you need with knockoff clothing brands, you know, couches, whatever it may be. We can easily state that. So I'm going to carry on. We can easily continue to, you know, justify that, because right now, 2021, 2020, people are, I mean, everywhere, but talking about South Africa in particular, because we care about our people, our population. Like, we are not, no one here is like flashing the money, Jay-Z style, no one's doing that. And if I would like some winter clothing, because winter's like just around the corner, I could care less if it says Levi or Levo. If it looks cool and I can get it from a local vendor who's making money off me, my perception, then I'm sorry, it works. It kind of like plus plus on both sides. So that there's a lot of people right now that are going, oh, come on, Chris, if it was you, like you would have a completely different you. You know what? I watch Shark Tank, and I mean every single person well, not every single person, but the majority of people that do come on with products and services get knocked off almost immediately, and they have to file lawsuits and this and that, but hardly ever stands. So if you don't like wearing a jersey, for me, is not original. It's not an original piece, like a product or whatever it is. That it's just a jersey or a jacket or a pair of jeans. I see no fault in it. Especially, again, we're not exactly like the richest country in terms of population. So then I go to my call out. I hope that that clears things up. So very, very rich, was cool. Put a little bit of personality. I like that. I kind of like that. I thought it was cool. Um, and that's also what you got to do. Got to do, boo, is that you got to feel that, like, oh yeah, man, that was that's cool. I was happy with that. I was in the moment. Got some great content. Obviously, I'm saying, yeah, I would have done a little bit more detail, but that was nice. It works, and I know a lot of people would call in, right? So we want to do structure. Okay, find your passion. So I've said this already, and I'm not going to really go through more of this, because the thing is, again, there is only one cardinal rule: find their passion, and it will be yours. It will be yours because you want to do your job well, and you love pleasing your listener. I love it. I love it. I love it because the thing is that we are built for that kind of arrogance, in a way, and that's not a bad thing. That we feed off, just like, let's say, a doctor feeds off helping people medically. We like we are that's that Greek guy that sits in the middle of the village and tells a story. Do you understand? We feed off entertainment, and that makes us powerful. I'm saying in our own right, So not like in a negative way, a negative or harmful way. So it makes us feel powerful and confident and fed. And so the thing is that passion comes from that. We please them, it pleases us automatically. Okay. Let me just quickly see what it says here. Oh, I have the guts to edit. Sure. Okay, great. Okay, so that's very important, right? So obviously it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't put it on the slides. So here we go. I'm gonna summarize this one for you, and so that you can understand, is that we do always start off with more content. Do you understand? So let's say we're planning the story about Facebook and Gucci and all this stuff. We're going to get, like I said to you, various versions of the poll, and let's say statements that have been made, like where they are right now. What is the possibility of them actually, like, like succeeding in suing who exactly? I give come a I get more content than I should, right? Then I will narrow it down to support what my call out will be. The same thing applies to interviews. Like, I don't want to, don't ask the questions that are not important. Just don't. It's silly. It's silly. You have any interview, I don't care, famous, not famous, from around the corner to around the Parliament's corner. It doesn't really matter. Like, every single interview that you do must have purpose. So the questions that matter within that context and why they are on your show for that reason, you will ask those questions. And obviously, that turns into a conversation. That's really cool. That's what we want. But don't carry on in a privatized way or whatever it is. I've interviewed many, many artists where I'm fanboying madly, like crazy madly. And I've got to keep it together. You got to keep it together, because it's not about me. and how I've always wanted to tell, like, I don't care how old you are, you can always fanboy, fangirl. Um, and you just want to say things about yourself, obviously, because it's like the only opportunity you might get to speak to this celebrity anyway. And you got to be like, oh man, I got to do it for my work, for my listener. I think you understand. Cool. Let's go here. All right. Right, be yourself. That is the oh God. So so I'm so disturbed by this one because it also look when I started and when everyone starts, no one tells you how to be yourself. Does that make sense? It sounds very out of sorts, but it is out of sorts. You to be yourself when you go and you do your first show, sit there with mic, whatever it is, it nothing feels like that. You've never been in a situation, even if you've MC'd before, nothing has the same kind of similarity that prepares you for what it is to be behind a mic and just start talking. It's absurd. And then in that first moment, it feels absurd. You're like, you know, um, and it is kind of a nightmare as well. The problem with that is that we a lot of us actually then turn it into this alter ego. So I'm DJ Smacks Your ass. Well, that's actually quite a cool name. But you can't be like a DJ like two fingers up or whatever it is, or whatever, the Q-tip minus T. I don't know. It's an alter ego which never allows you to be yourself. So DJ Q-tip minus Y, whatever it is, can't actually sympathize or empathize properly with a mother that's just lost her child. It's that simple. It's that simple. But a Chris and a Zordwan and a like Judith, whatever it is, can. Um, so that's the big difference. Sorry, my phone is just going off. I'm just going to shut this off. But it's not again. It is winter. You have to forgive me. Yes, I did that in front of you. Again. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So the hook is the beginning part of your call out or any link that is going to make the listener. Nope, I have to just blow my nose. I'm going to pause this for a second. What? That's not pausing. That is pausing. Ta-da! Okay, thank you for that. Just excusing me for a short while. Okay, so back to this hook. Let's quickly look at like what we see here in your theory. So we scroll social media without really looking. We don't. We actually don't. If you go down Facebook, it's very unlikely. Let's say people are putting links to YouTube videos or articles, whatever it is, or they have a conversation. They're putting in like a little bit of statement, whatever it is. Norm, Normally, we just actually just press like if we do like, love, care. I hate that icon. Care, whatever it is, right? Um, and tweets as well. We won't necessarily go to, let's say, a link that has been included. We'll read the tweet, we'll see the picture, we might move on. So we call that an impression versus an engagement, right? Um, Okay, so there's too much to consume with too little time. I was saying, so in the separate class stage, or what was this one? I was like, no, I mean, we wanted more, we got more, and now we have too much. Okay, so we have to also think about how this affects the listener on air as well. I'm not saying that in previously, like 10, 20, 30 years ago, whatever it may have been, like our hooks were any longer, like because people had now more time, you know? It wasn't about that. It was about like the hook has always been structured well enough to contextually fit that particular um, era of radio or broadcasting, TV, whatever it may have been, right? So we have to, within our storytelling, telling, be very quick on saying something that hooks somebody. Just the way that I told you, I've been telling you various stories throughout the lessons, whatever it may be. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be worded so smart and so witty and so whatever. Just don't word it. So the topic for the day is, or I saw in a paper today, or I saw on Facebook that it said this, and this, or Twitter or Instagram. I saw a photo. Like that is there's no, we don't the industry does not need people that do that. They need people who can actually do something different from everybody else. So as we know, like literally, and I looked up the statistic, about 92% of human beings in 2021 actually look at their phones first and last thing that they do at night and in the morning. They look at their phones. And 70% of those actually log into their Instagram accounts. So if you did like I did, I just hopped on the Insta and I made my way across. The first and the foremost thing that I saw, that I know you saw, was so a hook. Now you're ready to go. Like, I'm going to listen a little bit more. I'm giving you another 30 seconds, Chris. Do your work, that type of thing, right? So um, let's have a look. Setting the mood, please. Again, we've spoken about this. It's very important that with your own, you're a human being. You're not incapable of doing this. You can be funny. You can be scary, but please don't be scary. You can be serious. You can be sad. Because empathy, not sympathy, empathy is what makes a great radio presenter different from a bad, not even a good one, from a bad presenter. It's only one way, empathy, right? So introduce the premise right away without giving away the ending, just as I let you know now. The most ridiculous thing happened to me yesterday. Hmm, that's cool ish, okay, but it does still lead to like, okay, cool, 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 what was the most, I mean, like, your life seems to be quite ridiculous. uh then tell me the most ridiculous thing. I don't know. So please, I know there are moments that we as you're introduced in radio, always prepare to be a solo presenter. Okay, don't make it so that you think that you're going to land up on a co-hosted show, because one, also that leaves you half the time to actually grow, right? So it's going to take you double the time to grow, should I say, because someone else is fit, like feeding your spotlight, should I say, feeding and stealing it at the same time. And I just want to make the mention, because we see that you have a co-host that Musa is now responded to you this and this and this and this way. Okay, but you do understand we have done this already. Okay, so even with questions, it can be tempting to give away the whole story in the first 20 seconds. It can, but you see how I just did the whole thing with the Instagram and whatever it is. Like, you have a question already. What could this man be carrying on so much? He's so passionate about. He's so ridiculously passionate about. This better be good. And whatever I say next, best be good. Because like, if it's like quah and it's like whatever, we're gonna be like, you are like ridiculous in a bad way. So okay, so piece by piece, go slow. They can't go back and listen again and again. Obviously, we'll be on a live medium, and that's really what you really want. Okay, I drop them a couple of questions, give them a couple of answers. and then lead out with why you're actually doing this entire thing. Okay. Watch stand-up comedy. You know what I'm saying? People who tell stories for a living. Also, again, all our best talk show hosts around the world, our Oprah Winfrey's, our, Howard Stearns, and when Larry King was alive, just before. Really, I think I haven't mentioned this to you. So, like Larry King, what a great storyteller, international. So you're saying like, oh my goodness, like a broadcaster can be actually internationally famous. That's crazy. Like we know movie stars can be, but you are doing something different when you are um, in the broadcasting presenting industry, and you are known on all whatever continents. Seven, is it? Seven? Are we seven? No. Okay. Use your voice to your advantage. No good story has been ever told in some kind of normal sidebar speaking. Plaintiff, this, that. I don't know why I said plaintiff. But it was boring anyway. You know. So all of us go through that as well, just to make you feel better. You're not going to suddenly pop. When you start doing this, you have to actually. So I still have the recording of my first show that happened 20 years ago, in 1999. That's longer. Shoot, 1999. Okay. And I was so bad, so bad, because the thing is that all I know is, at that point, all I knew was how to speak through my nose. I mean, I didn't have to like vocalize and kind of give it a bit of depth and speak from here, hear it from my chest, and how it would have different range or whatever it may have been, and whatever. In other words, a presentable, professional manner of communication. And I mean, I was very proud of that first show. I'll never chuck it away. Absolutely. I mean, but it's so funny because I thought I was so good. I was like, what? What? Listen back to the. I made everybody listen. It was 12 o'clock at night. I was like, yeah, man, look at this. I'm like a star. Ooh, I was not. And it was first and foremost because of my voice. It really was. It was so bad. And it's all about control. It's all about control and obviously practice. So don't feel bad, but do start immediately and change that for yourself. Okay, we're at the end. I'm going to give you three. I'm going to give you a class exercise. So write three hooks for three news stories to explore. One must deal with lifestyle. Okay, so science, human interest, with technology, lifestyle. Yeah. One must deal with a topical current affair issue, so something that's newsworthy that is affecting the entire country. The last must deal with a relevant, well, it must be relevant to student life. Excuse the missing word there. Must be relevant to student life. Further, please add the body of what you think is important. So you're going to do a full link here. And then lastly, come up with a possible call outs for each. I'm going to structure it nice and slowly. So good luck and enjoy it. And I'll see you next week for the next lesson. Cheers.